The Kenyan government hinted at a possible way out of the current crisis by suggesting that last week's disputed election could be rerun if the courts ordered it. But on the streets, there were more clashes.
So will you continue to try and enter Uhuru Park?
We will continue every day.
For the second day running, riot police and troops fired tear gas to disperse protesters, angry at what they see as the theft of the election from the opposition candidate Raila Odinga. But after further mediation efforts by the South African Nobel Peace Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who met President Mwai Kibaki today, a government spokesman said the crisis could be resolved legally.
What we are clearly saying is that Kenya is not a banana republic. Kenya is not a war-torn country. Kenya is not a country that does not have a governance structure. We have a constitution that we have protected for many years. We have court systems and laws and orders. And what we are saying is that let things follow the procedures like they do in other countries with constitutions.
So with much of the country paralysed by violence, fears are growing about the damage being caused to Kenyan trade and tourism. Although attention has focused on Nairobi in the west, the port of Mombasa, Kenya's second city and an opposition stronghold, has been a key centre of unrest. In a special report compiled there over the last 7 days, Cleopatra Makula has watched the week's events unfold. Her report contains some disturbing images.
It's 2 days after millions of citizens turned up at polling stations all over Kenya to vote for change. First results are pointing to a victory for Raila Odinga, and angry ODM supporters have invaded the streets of Mombasa, calling for the Electoral Commission of Kenya to announce their president. Mwai Kibaki has just been hurriedly sworn in as the president of Kenya, and the violence on the normally calm streets of Mombasa is shocking. The police try desperately to contain the crowds, but the mob is not fazed. They are angry and hungry for blood. Chaos and looting ensues. Businesses are being vandalized and property looted or burned. The normally peaceful coastal city of Mombasa is now in flames. This petrol station was set alight by ODM supporters. They want justice. They want Kibaki to step down. The people affected the most by this violence are innocent Kikuyu and Meru men, targeted by ODM supporters simply because of their tribal affiliation to Mwai Kibaki's party. Gunshots are being fired into the air to disperse the protesters. The death toll stands at 7 in Mombasa, with many more injured. It's New Year's Day and 8 more people are dead. Mombasa residents ushered in the new year with gunshots and screams instead of fireworks. This man is sporting deep cuts from a machete. He was violently attacked and left for dead. Terrified residents are too scared to leave their homes, and the situation doesn't seem to ease. Tension is visible on everyone's faces. These tourists are stranded waiting for the tension to ease before they can cross the ferry. The Kenyan police give them full security and escort. I drive to the north coast of Mombasa. It's a coastal city with beaches that have been the attraction to many Western and African tourists for decades. However, the once bustling streets are now deserted by people traumatized by this unprecedented violence. It's the 1st of January, and usually these beaches would be filled with people swimming and celebrating the new year. I want to understand what other Kenyans are feeling and experiencing during this very turbulent period.
At the moment the situation is quiet, but I believe some hooligans and this rowdy youth, which they want to disrupt the normal life of everybody here and destroy basically this country and the economy. Once tourism is destroyed in Coast Province, really things will deteriorate to an extent whereby everybody will suffer. So this is not about democracy, this is only about looting and destroying this country.
The leaders need to speak out because none of them is really coming out strongly to condemn the violence that's going on.
It has affected our jobs. They are not tourists. Everything is going up. The prices are skyrocketing. There's no wheat flour, no maize flour.
I meet a family of 3 teenagers. Alone because their parents are stranded in Nyeri, central Kenya. They are Kikuyu. There is no fuel or food in the shops. They don't know when they will return. They live in fear of their lives, especially because they are Kikuyu.
The citizens everywhere in the country, people are suffering.
Things are expensive. You go to the shop, there's nothing. Some are staying hungry. Some don't have money, like some are business people, so they don't go for their business work. There's no money to eat, things are so expensive.
It's been 6 days of violence in Mombasa. A lot of looting, killing, and protesting all over the streets of this beautiful town. Resources are low, there's a lack of food, and petrol is also an issue. Everybody is calling for peace and tolerance at this very critical time that Kenyans are facing. Cleopatra Mukula, More4 News, Mombasa.